You know, in Michigan, there are some four-letter words that we really hate hearing. And one of the words in particular starts with an S. Now, it's not a cuss word, just to let you know, but I'm giving you a sneak peek here. Just as I'm walking, you can probably see some of the flakes in front of me, behind me. That word is snow. So in this episode, I'm gonna be talking with you about snowfall, about school closings, about roads and conditions, and I'm also gonna be sharing with you some personal stories about like what people in Michigan like to do during snowfall. And be sure to stay tuned until the end because I'm gonna give you some tips on what to remember when buying a house in the Lansing area when it has to do with snow. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with this next episode of Lansing Michigan Life here. If this is your first time to the channel, my name's Troy Seifert. I'm a top producing real estate agent in the greater Lansing, Michigan area. And I get phone calls all the time from people who are just like you watching this channel. Maybe you're watching this and it is completely sunny and warm. Well, right now here in Michigan, it is cold. So whether you're looking to move here in 9 days, 90 days, 9 months from now, I would love to be able to talk with you, chat with you face-to-face, even on a Zoom call. All my contact information is in the description below. Also, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel if you could, and give me a thumbs up if you like the content of this video here. So this morning, I woke up, I looked out my window into my backyard, and I saw snow for the first time. I'm shooting this video the first week of November. This is typical when we do get our first snowfall, but it's been snowing off and on all day with these flurries. You can kind of even see on some of the trees here, these evergreen trees, how the snow is just kind of sitting there. It is picture perfect. It's more of a wet snow. I'm walking here on the sidewalks in my neighborhood and they're just wet. Nothing's really laying on them, but the ground is covered as you can see here. So I want to make a video all about living in Lansing in regards to snow. And I want to just talk about the different things to consider when you are moving here. So the first thing that I want to talk about just with snow in the Lansing, Michigan area has to do with the snowfall. How much snowfall do we get in Lansing, Michigan? And I do talk about this in weather in Lansing. I talk about temperatures. That's a video I did before. But because we are in the center of Michigan, you know, when people hear Michigan during the wintertime, all I ever hear about is, oh, all that snow that you guys get. And really, in Lansing, we don't get as much as some of the other areas in Michigan do. In fact, up north of us in Traverse City, even the Upper Peninsula, they get over 100 inches of snow. In Grand Rapids, which is to the west of us and it's close to the lake, they get a lot of lake effect snow. They get about 70 inches of snow for a year. In Lansing, we get about 40 to 50 inches of snow per year. Now, the last few seasons have been mild, except for last year. We did have a little bit more snow and a little bit more frigid temperatures than usual, but snow in Lansing is not going to be as bad. Detroit as well, like if you go over to Detroit, it's even a little bit less. There's not as much lake effect over there. So when you're in the center of Michigan, which is where Lansing is, you don't necessarily have to deal with that. So that's a good thing. Now, question I get a lot of times is, you know, how often do schools close? Because you might be moving here and you want to be put in a school system. I think a lot of people make assumptions about Michigan that we just always have school no matter what when it's snowing, because we have this amazing plow system. And I'm going to get into the plow system later, but really, in all honesty, I feel like, especially in the last like 5, 6, 7 years, that Lansing does ask off for school quite a bit. If you are in more of the city areas and you don't have a lot of country roads like Lansing, East Lansing, just where you're closer to, you know, just an area where there's not a lot of those country roads, you are probably going to have more school just because there's not a lot of roads for people to plow. However, if you are in some rural areas, because there's all those back country roads, they are more likely to be able to call off school. So just something for you to be aware of when it comes to school closings. There are snow days. It's not like they don't exist here in Lansing. Another thing I want to talk about just has to do with the roads. Like, what are the roads like? And I have some videos about snow drives in Lansing, Michigan. Definitely take a look at those. But the roads, you'd be surprised. I'm just being honest. I was surprised when moving to Michigan. I thought that they had this super duper system that was able to plow the roads in an instant. And really, it's not that amazing. I don't know if it has to do with financials, that they just don't have enough money to be able to do it. But in the Lansing, Michigan area, they go by priority. So what do I mean by that? Well, with the priority, they go with highways first. And so the highways are gonna get plowed first of all. Then they're gonna go to major roads within that area where there's a lot of traffic, okay? And then they're going to start going into the minor roads and then in your neighborhood. So depending on what neighborhood you are in the Lansing, Michigan area, you might not be out for a couple days, just to give you a heads up. And even right now as I'm walking, there are people, hello, how's it going? There are kids outside playing because, hey, it's the first snowfall here. So depending on what township you are in, you've got to be aware that the roads might be worse, they might be better. It just kind of depends wherever you're at. So the one thing that is really important for you as you're looking for a place to live when it comes to snow is if you're really close to highways. If you're like a couple minutes away, that's a good thing for commute because the highways are the first to be cleared. The other thing to keep in mind is that a lot of times if snow happens at night, you're not gonna see the plows out. They're gonna come out early in the morning. So it's gonna be more dangerous to travel at night because a lot of times those plows are not out salting the roads. That's just been my experience. It might not always be the case, and it definitely depends on the townships as well. The other thing in our area that that you just have to think about in regards to snow is if you live in an area that's further south, like Indianapolis, I like to bring that up, they get a lot of freezing rain. Why? Because the temperatures further south you go, then the warmer it gets. I feel like Tennessee can also be like this a little bit. In Tennessee, you have the threat of freezing rain. We get freezing rain here sometimes, and actually in 2013, there was a huge ice storm where there was just tons of ice everywhere on trees, power lines were snapped. It was when my son was born. We were actually in the hospital, my son was born, and the power was out at many places for a week. And we thought we were gonna be going home to a house with no electricity whatsoever. Well, thank God that we got home and we had power. We were one of the few homes to have power with a newborn baby. That was great. But we do get those ice storms from time to time, but not as frequent as you would in some of those more southern states. Seem like a weather forecaster right here, like, hey, over here to the west, over here to the east, down south. Maybe I should have been a meteorologist, I don't know. But just as a heads up, when it comes to freezing rain, it happens sometimes, but really we primarily get snow like this. Now, some things that are really cool traditions that a lot of people do here in Michigan, and this is why I want to kind of talk about the positive of, hey, if you have snow, these are things that you get to do that you don't in other places that don't have snow. You can make snow ice cream. And there are people just literally taking snow from the ground and you add milk and you add sugar and you can add chocolate syrup to it. There's a really easy recipe online and you make snow ice cream. It's a fun snow day activity to do with kiddos and the family, but you wouldn't have that down in Florida more than likely, or in Southern California even, if you didn't have snow. Another thing that people do is they really take advantage of like having fireplaces in their homes, and people have a wood burning fireplace. That's why fireplaces are very desirable to have in Michigan during these colder months. Wood burning, there's nothing like a wood burning fireplace, especially when I go to a place like Cracker Barrel and they have that wood burning fireplace just burning. You get the smell there, it's awesome. The other thing that I'm doing tonight actually is there's some friends, they're actually clients of mine that invited me to their house every single year for after the first snowfall. They have a chili dinner where they invite everybody out. They bring a side dish, dessert. So I'm headed there later tonight to celebrate the first snowfall. Again, there's a lot of sense of community when it comes to snow. You can look at it as a negative thing or you can look at it as opportunity. So some tips that I would give you, because I'm a realtor in the area, I want to be able to give you some useful information when looking at homes here and what to be mindful of when you're moving here with the snow. Just some tips that I would definitely give you is to have salt handy for your driveways, because if you don't and you just let the snow linger and you don't shovel it, then what happens is your driveways start to crack, just like the roads start to crack. We have lots of potholes there. So if you don't have good maintenance to your driveway is gonna have cracks galore, and there's gonna be even like potholes in there and on sidewalks even in your neighborhood if you don't do that. So it's really important to clear that stuff up. This doesn't necessarily have to do with a home, but I mentioned it before, because of the salt that's on the roads, getting your cars washed frequently so you can avoid rust on your cars, that will protect a lot of your money and your assets. One thing that happens with roofs is at the edge of the roof with snow, if you let the snow melt and then there's more snow that comes and appears, you can build ice dams. And ice dams then can create roof leaks. You do not want that to happen. So, being able to have maybe a broom that you get on your roof to be able to scrape some of that off is a good thing. Other things that you can do as well is change your furnace filters, because your furnaces here are going to be running strong. And so because of that, you want to change your furnace filter to keep the life of that furnace strong. So those are some of the tips that I have for you in regards to buying homes. This is more of a short, sweet video, kind of because I'm outside in the cold and you guys are like, why aren't you wearing hat and gloves? It's like 30 degrees. Guess what? I thought it was gonna be okay, and it is starting to get a little windy. But again, if you're looking to move here in 9 days, 90 days, or 9 months from now, I would love to be able to talk with you. All my contact information is in the description below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my channel so you'll be notified when a new episode of Lansing Michigan Life goes live. So folks, you witnessed the first snowfall of 2025 here in Lansing, Michigan. I hope that this doesn't mean that we're gonna have tons of snow this year. You never know. But hopefully you all are staying safe and warm wherever you're at. And until next time, make it a great day. Take care.